On day release, demon sub tries not to crease, and meanwhile keeping nice and warm in bed with Russian uniform. Meanwhile, the handyman is opening another can. Technical difficulties, they're really such a crime. Technical difficulties, they happen all the time. It's Yellow Belly Tabletop time. It's Yellow Belly Tabletop time. It's Yellow Belly Tabletop time. Sometimes they're salty about the gaming biz, and nobody knows who Upworlder is.
Good evening, everybody. Oh, look at that. Bang on 2,000 hours. Oh, no. Technical difficulties. Shit. Right. That's me rushing, trying to do too many things. Right, let's get David. Let's rescue David from the void. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the fucking chaos. We started as we mean to go on with, utter madness. Just let me get this set up. David video, paste. Oh, come on, don't be a cunt. Do it. Right, paste. Go.
That's it. Spam's left chat. I'm not here. Spam's left.
Spam leaves the chat. Oh dear. Everybody was panicked. He hasn't got a co-host. Actually, my camera's slightly off. Let's give that a little bit of a tweak. There we go. Right. Now then. Oh, and to tell you what I haven't done, queued up your desktop either. So, good evening, everyone.
You are a fucking half-assed twat.
Look, I had too much to do. I'm fucking overwhelmed with tasks.
That is an issue, not an issue.
I got too much. All the responsibility. Can't take it.
You wanted to do stream. You started this channel. This is on you.
Bloody ass. Right. Okay. Paste. Go. Right. Let's check that he's working. Yeah. Right. We're all good.
Fuck you, Rich.
Oh dear. Look at the spam. I'm here to see Paul. Fucking let the roasting begin. Right, so good evening, everybody. Hope you all had a good week since you last had to put up with our fucking nonsense. Well, let's do what we normally do. Shout out everybody in the chat. Good evening to Upworlder, Trevor from our local club. Good evening to Darren, that's Demon Sub on Instagram. Hello to Rich, also from our club. Toros, good evening, sir, one of the on tabletop crowd. Good evening to Spen. David's other half, if we haven't worked that out. And who else we got? Is that it? Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Good evening to one and to all. So if you're watching again later on YouTube, good evening to you too. We much appreciate the view, even though you weren't here when the event took place.
You're just as valued.
Yeah, just as valued. Just as important as our co-stars.
Clink a little comment in the chat box.
Yeah, you can sort of like wave from the comments in the vid. So, if you're new, next 2 hours we'll go through our usual format. David and I will tell you about what we are going to be doing tonight, because obviously this is a hobby live stream. David tends to do more hobby than I do, but that's because he's good at this sort of stuff. Then we will talk about what we did at Gaming Club on Monday. Chat about some internet news bollocks, and then about 9 o'clock-ish, we'll have a waffle about our main topic, which this week...
We've got to talk about Saturday gaming. Don't forget the Saturday gaming!
Oh, I always forget about the Saturday gaming. We will talk about our main topic, which is player dynamics in wargaming. That sounds very pompous, Paul. Good, because I have slides.
There will be an exam at the end, so...
But basically what we're going to be talking about is the importance of the human component of tabletop wargaming, probably more, but I think a lot of the...
Paul, we're all robots without a soul and a personality. How very dare you accuse us of being human?
I may be a fucking unempathetic robot, but that doesn't mean everybody else is. The lessons can stretch across to other types of gaming, board gaming and role-playing games, so feel free to weave your own sort of narrative with that regard. What's Darren saying? The event. Remain indoors.
Fucking hell, Darren's going hard mode. What? He's doing hobby working on 3 different dioramas, each on their own 60 mil bases, each with a miniature from old GW armies.
Okay, that sounds like quite a cool little project. And something very, up your street, mate. Glad that is one of them a Gundam. I can't imagine a Gundam squeezed on a 60 mil base, but Guild Worlder, sorry sir, dog ate my homework. Look at this. He's trying to get out of it straight away.
I'm going to throw a fucking board
blackboard rubber.
Just saying.
You should have one handy. You could just chuck it off camera.
Here's a question, boys and girls at home, because I do believe the Spring Clean challenge is on at OTT.
Is it?
What's the closing date for that shit?
They're normally 3 months, so it'll be...
Yeah, but I don't know when it started, because I wasn't paying attention, and...
June, I imagine.
Oh, God. Does that mean I might have to paint a bolt action army in May, with all of the events that we're going to and everything as well?
Let me quickly go to On the Table of the Top. On tabletop.
But anyway, boys and girls, as Paul was saying... Usual show, usual shenanigans, usual bullshit. We opened with technical difficulties. They're here to stay, boys and girls. What is everybody else up to yet?
I don't know as they've announced Spring Clean yet. I
thought I saw some banner work for it the other day, but maybe I was imagining shit. And anyway, Trevor, yes, Bet because I'm fucking absolutely romping through my dwarves. Some British Airborne, they ain't gonna stand in my way.
Here we go. Spring Clean 2025. Yeah, here we go. Does it have a date? It runs from the 28th of March. Well, that's helpful. Yeah, it runs
already a month late.
Yeah, it runs from the 28th of March. So it'll probably be ending sometime in June, July.
Oh, hello, Spidey on my table. You're gonna die, my friend. Get off my dwarven things.
I thought that's an unusual. That's an Oh, the last day of spring, which would be what, June 20th? Is that when the midsummer solstice thing is? That sounds about right. Tara. For everybody who's not familiar, Warren is one of the sort of owner, well, no longer because they belong to Whaling Games, but one of the founders of the Hello Paul, Paul from Pandyman Entertainment, Pandy, is one of the guys who helped set up Beasts of War as was before it became on tabletop. And Toro says Spring Clean Challenge finishes when Warren has finished his project.
So never.
Yeah, it's finished when Warren is ready. Dear, that's funny. Brilliant. So, what are you up to, mate? You were trying
to me. Come on down.
You were trying to tell me, but I was frantically faffing.
Come on down.
Go, go, go!
Tonight we are mainly finishing off building some Frostgrave because I've finally cured my warband.
Oh yeah.
I've got to do some more printing in a bit though because I had a failure. So a thief. I've got a lot of thieves.
Nice.
I've got a lot of thieves actually. So boys and girls, scores on the doors. We have my wizard, who's fucking epic in all flavors with the raven on his shoulder. We have my apprentice.
Okay.
We have my thug.
Oh yeah, you've seen her. She's cool.
We have my summoned bear.
Wow. That's cool. Are these all Artisan Guild?
These are all Artisan Guild at the moment.
Yep.
We have a rogue that needs hands and weapons, but we'll get to him in a minute.
Yep.
We have another thug, and he's got a lantern and a hand axe.
Yep.
We have Slutty Gnome.
That one's
what
tiny.
Warband is complete without a Slutty Gnome?
What are you actually going to run that as? Or do you not know yet?
It's got a hand weapon.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
The
beauty of Frostgrave, just do your own thing.
Infantryman.
Yep.
We have a bowman without a bow because his bow failed.
Okay, that was your failure. Okay.
Yeah. We've got a really nice barbarian stroke infantryman.
Okay. Yep, with a two-handed weapon. Probably more barbarian given the very poor armor.
Yeah, there is another barbarian somewhere, but I don't know where she is. Oh, I found her.
Oh dear. You need fucking headset like this for that one, Rich.
There's another barbarian.
Oh dear.
And then we have the Titan Forge miniatures. So we have a nice little dwarven rogue.
Okay.
We have a fucking gorgeous human rogue.
Yeah, that's quite nice with the knives. Doesn't look very roguish, but I do like the knives.
And then my favourite miniature, which has got a slight failure, my Trapper, boys and girls.
Oh, that looks cool. That looks a bit Zelda-esque.
It is kind of anime.
Okay,
But
that
yeah,
is.
we have a bit of broken
Oh, where the rope
fish
fight.
hook.
Are you going to
Yeah.
reprint that? Are you just going to do a repair job with some?
I'm just gonna repair it.
Yeah, okay. That is a cool model, though, mate.
But I thought that was cool for Trapper.
Yeah.
Quite
I
a
like
good
it.
way to represent it. So yeah, my warband's a little over 10 men.
You got
women.
some spares.
Yeah, I've got
And
some
I
spares.
can
Got some
see.
chopping and changing. Oh,
Do I see you
and
wagon at the back there?
You do. I'll come to
What's
that in
that?
a second. Titan Forged Thug.
Oh, another one. Right. Okay.
But he's half orc and he looks like he's had a stroke and his arm failed a bit.
Well, he looks like he has had a stroke because he's failed, or just
No,
it's a weird
honestly,
sculpt.
look at the sculpt on his face.
Yeah,
His face has fallen on one side.
Yeah, okay.
And then yes, boys and girls, we have bits of cart in background.
Okay, what are you gonna do for? Is the bear to pull the cart?
No.
Okay, the bear's
not.
okay. Yeah.
Well,
Just
to be fair, I might have the bear pull the cart for the games that I can't summon the bear.
Okay, but what are you gonna do for the games where you can summon the bear? You're gonna need 2.
Well, no, because I might not run the bear in every scenario because I have a barbarian, and barbarians are very good at fighting.
Okay.
Look at the size of her claymore. It's fucking huge.
It's not the only thing that's fucking huge, mate. Dear.
What? Are you talking about her badonkadonks or her ass cheeks? Because both are pretty big.
Darren says, many of my minis look like they've had a stroke when I try painting eyes on them, lol. Geez, Toros, slutty gnome sounds like a cocktail in a disreputable bar.
And then all these bases are from OPR.
Okay.
These are actually Ratkin bases.
Nice. See, you've got such a massive library of STLs. I bet you can just cobble together some super cool shit without even trying, can't you?
Just blink and oh look, there's another warband.
So they looking good, mate. So what at the moment so tonight is what? Assembly?
Get ready for a priming session. I've got some dwarves to finish off assembling, and then I'll be doing some dwarf painting.
Sweet.
There's a surprise. Rich D, what's the best size for Frostgrave? It genuinely doesn't matter. Bigger bases will get you fucked over a bit with opponents stacking, but again, we're not them kind of guys. Anything between 20 and 32.
Yeah.
Probably.
Like if you've got a shit ton of spare Games Workshop 32s for 40k, just use them. Like David said, it doesn't matter. The game doesn't keep you to particular base sizes. Larger bases can be disadvantageous because obviously it's easier for you. So the bear can always be summoned as an extra warband member, Toros, but the problem is the cart plays a part in many of the scenarios. So there are definitely going to be situations where David needs the cart and the bear on the table at the same time. So my advice is he needs something to pill it. Sorry?
I thought the cart was stationary.
No, not all the time.
Well, can you please direct that to other members at the club that have just gone out and got a cart and not necessarily miniatures to pull it?
Well, it'll just have to be it can be self-driven.
It's magic!
Magic did it! Yeah. So, yeah, as I say, I would suggest, not only that, the man's got a 3D printer. How fucking hard is it to print something cool to pull his bloody wagon? It'd be a fucking 5-minute job.
Currently, there's only 3 wheels on my wagon because one failed.
Do you know what? That's unusual because I have not heard you talk about print failures for a good long while. What do you think?
Yeah, I just think I let the auto orientation in the software do its magic and it fucked up.
Okay, you're getting a bit too relaxed, eh?
didn't pay attention.
Okay.
That, and I've been busy, and it was a bit cold, and it's temperamental, and yeah. So all of that shit.
Oh my god, that's actually quite a cool idea. Matt Toros says maybe several smaller carts or wheelbarrows that each party member could push. That's pretty cool, actually.
That's baller as fuck. That I will admit. That is baller as fuck as ideas go. And I may commandeer that.
Because to be fair, it'd be dead easy to do. You could just put them on separate little bases and run them around with the models. That's pretty cool. Are we going to give the wagon weapons or speed things? Okay. So basically, the wagon is a repository of all the crap that your warband carries around the world. Because we're playing the Wildwoods campaign supplement, or that's the intention at the club. So the wagons represent your stash of gold, magic items, Hussite war wagons.
tents.
We're not sure what those are, Toros. But they do sound cool. Let's Google Hussite war wagons. Hussite war wagons.
He's really nice as thugs go.
Ooh, that is quite cool, actually.
I need more bases.
Oh. Oh.
Have you told the boys and girls about your genius, though?
Hang on a minute.
Your warband's going to be dogs, isn't it, sir? So haven't you got cats pulling your cart?
Are you telling me that it's... Hang on a minute. This website is not going to load the fucking... I don't want to subscribe to your fucking newsletter. I want you to load that picture that you're not going to load. Well, screw you then. Okay.
Nice.
Let me see if I can get this up. Yeah, they're pretty cool. So, war wagons. Images.
Hussy war wagons was that?
There, look at that. Let me see if I can share this for the people at home. So if we go to here, there, look at that. Those are very cool. When I went to their actual, this is just the Google search, obviously. When I went to the Fireforge games, or when I went to this link, this image did not load. So I don't know if these are no longer available or what, but it looks cool. Very cool. Long term, I may buy one of these. Because
just because you can.
I've got like a farm cart, but this looks way more like something that a wizard would put his stuff in. Yeah, this is a good shout, Toros. I'm loving these. Yeah, so because my warband is dogs, as David said, my grand plan was to have the animal pulling my yeah, hay. I've got one with actually a wagon load of hay, but I think I'll probably run an empty one. So yeah, Wild West wagons fine. They're probably more the kind of thing people would run, but that Hussite stuff's cool. Yeah, my idea was, because my warband are all dogs, was to have a big cat pulling my wagon, which I thought, which should be quite cool. And I've got some ideas, and if I can't find a model, David will happily print me one. So we'll find something. Now then, my desk. So here's what I'm going to be working on. So Ricky and I are playing through the Stalingrad bolt action campaign. And we need some like scatter pieces of terrain. And and I've
Have
had
you
these.
3D printed those?
No, these are resin, mate. They're a little bit. They've got some blisters in them. I can't remember where I bought these. I think these might be Oathsworn. But don't quote me on it. I think I bought them when they had a stand at UK Games Expo 2 or 3 years ago. Last time they were there. And I've just not got round to doing anything with them. So my plan tonight, I've primed them in, I think it's called neutral grey, which is the forge coloured sort of mid-tone grey undercoat. And I'm just going to basically go in with what are we using? Saddle brown, just to do the soil. Then I'm just going to slather the whole thing in the Vallejo Sepia Game Wash dipping formula. Really
did you actually get one, or you borrowed mine?
No, I bought one, mate. I really like this stuff. That's what I used on that 3D print. It gives a really nice look. It does stain everything, but for terrain, it's perfect.
It's next to fuck all though.
It is perfect. So yeah, I mean you get tons for your money. So give everything a liberal coat of that, and just because it's going to darken everything a lot, we'll dry brush up back with quite a pale grey, or maybe something that's like halfway between a grey and a cream, like a deck tan maybe, or something like that, because obviously I'll want dry brush the soil and that, and then a couple of tufts. You have the
black is
one.
Insanely strong.
Yeah. To be honest, Toros, that's why I bought. David's black one I did use, but I agree with you. The black one is a bit overkill. I guess for metallic, like if you're doing industrial bridges and that stuff that's made out of
concrete.
I still think it was a bit heavy for concrete, to be fair. But
but again, from the price point of make your own washes and all the ball like that is versus buy that and just dunk half of it into a empty container and add some water to it.
Well, yeah, that's what exactly. Even thinning it is easier than just creating something from scratch. But yeah, I mean, I almost certainly will pick a black one up eventually, because there are definitely applications where you want the less organic black tone. I just think there are going to be less of them. Like I say, the only thing I can think of where the black would be a massive advantage is anything that's fire damaged or anything that's industrial or metal.
The only thing I will say about the sepia is it's
Toros is using
oranges.
I'm not surprised how thin you're going then, Toros, if you're using it on miniatures. One thing I will say is, if anybody's thinking about using this stuff, I applied it with the brush, obviously, because I'm doing I had a massive terrain piece. I couldn't hardly dip it in. And it does look very scary when it goes on. So it looks very, very bubbly. It looks very orange. And it's quite scary when you've got your model slathered in it. But it does, when it dries, it changes completely. It's like a lot of Vallejo hobby products. The actual condition or state of it while it's wet is not at all representative of the product when it's dry. So if you are
anyway, fucker, we need to be getting on.
Okay. Yes, the cart can be attacked and looted in certain scenarios. Yeah, the army painter one is the same, Toros. It's a use. I mean, I like Army Painter Dip. I have some soft tone under the bench here, but it requires more finesse. This is easier to use because it's water based for a start, not fucking polyurethane varnish, and it doesn't make as much mess when you're getting it everywhere because it cleans off. But again, both products do have that in common. They're scary at the midway point, but just commit and keep calm, and it'll be fine.
So, club this week.
Club.
What did you get up to? What did I get up to? Let's go.
So let me go. Club night. First of all, I'll go first. It's club night. So I took Rich through his first game of Bolt Action. So we played the 3rd edition. It was about 500 to 600 points aside. Rich's partially assembled Germans versus my early war British. Essentially, it was a couple of infantry squads. I had a machine gun and a forward observer. Rich had a mortar. And I think that was it. And a command unit. So it was quite a simple little game. We rolled for the random scenarios as you do with the new Bolt Action. So it doesn't have scenarios as such. You roll everything randomly. So you roll the deployment, the victory conditions, all that. And it was basically a straight up kill game. I ended up winning 3-1. So at the end of turn 6. I know a lot of people do homebrew dips, and you can probably find a load of stuff on the internet, Toros. But yeah, I think Rich enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it, Rich? I don't know if he's still in the chat.
Rich enjoyed it so much that on Wednesday he demoed Flames of War, and he's currently got a Flames of War starter sat in his fucking shopping basket.
He is sucked into the World War II pit, sort of like pit.
Historicals have got him by the balls, boys and girls.
Excellent. That's what we like to hear. Hopefully Rich enjoyed it. I think it was a valuable learning experience. He's learned the value of going down in the face of enemy fire to try and keep your troops alive. And we've both learned how fucking annoying fighting in a village square is, where you've got the buildings disrupting line of sight for days. What
you mean? How annoying it is to fight an actual war.
Yeah. Who'd have thought? But yeah, it was a good little game. And obviously it was only a small little starter stroke training game. So we had plenty of time afterwards to talk about the next mission we're going to play in the Stalingrad campaign, planning out the army lists and discussing terrain and that. So, yeah, it was a bit of an orgy of Bolt Action. What did you get up to, mate?
I played some Deep Rock Galactic with Luke.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because Luke has got his Kickstarter with all his new shit. And very good game, very representative of the actual computers game, if anyone's played it.
Yeah, and this is a board game translation, basically, of the
it's a
PC
board game translation of the PC game. And to be fair, they've done it justice. The only thing I will say is obviously there is infinite caves and infinite generation in the computer game.
Right.
Not so much in the board game.
Okay.
There's very generic maps, etc. That's where they kind of missed a trick.
I've only played it the once, so I don't really remember.
What they should have done is they should have really, and here's my 2 cents on it, they should have really had a system to allow you to build and made the tiles.
Is it a modular map system, or all the maps fixed for the scenarios?
It is basically a modular map, but they're fixed for the scenarios. It tells you how to lay out the tiles and leave little gaps, etc., which is cool.
Yeah,
but again, do you know what I mean? Dungeon Saga, the original, did a flip pseudo random build.
Yes, that's right.
So why can't Deep Rock Galactic do it? Do you know what I mean?
And thematically, it would have fit because it would have copied that aspect of the computer game quite faithfully.
Yes,
I guess. Yeah, that's a fair point, mate.
Shall we tell the boys and girls about what we got up to on the Saturday of the day?
Yeah, so for those of you who are regular, you'll know that we every other week, David and I try to get together and do some gaming at the weekend. And Saturday just gone,
Spam was invited.
We played. We played another Arkham Horror Living card game scenario.
Well, we played the final scenario, didn't we? Technically, we didn't fucking know it at the time, but the campaign's now officially over, boys and girls. 2 episodes in.
We'd been attempting the Forgotten. Oh, what is it? Not Forgotten Realms. Forgotten Age scenario. Campaign rather, the Forgotten Age campaign for the Arkham Horror Living card game. So it is an 8 scenario campaign, as most of the early ones were, and we were on scenario 2, and everybody died, which meant that unfortunately, because we'd managed to balls up scenario 1 quite so badly and piss off the great old one Yig, we lost the entire campaign. So we got two adventures in and it was all over. So not our greatest moment.
But flip side being, it does now mean we get to play Drown City for the first time as a trio and fucking enjoy and savour every second of it.
Yeah, because I haven't, obviously, for those of you who don't know, the Drown City campaign has only just been released for Arkham in April. I think it came out this month. Or it might have been end of March. I lie. End of March. So I haven't even played that one solo yet. So it'll be my first encounter with it. And do you know what? Even though it was a complete disaster and we lost the campaign and the world was destroyed by the horrible snake people of Yig, it was still a good game. And it was as tense as fuck because basically I got killed first, I think, and then David got killed not long after me. I was playing Leo Anderson, the middle-aged expedition leader in the jungles of South America, and I got killed first. Then David, who was playing Calvin Wright, he was, I don't know, killed or driven insane. I can't remember which. And that left the reporter Rex Murphy, that was it. Rex Murphy, to basically finish the campaign on his own. And bless her, Sam was running Rex, and she did a really good job.
Don't rise to Spam's last comment in chat.
Essentially, she had, basically, it was like a last-ditch run for the exit, clutching the Relic of Ages, and everything had to go perfect for her to make it out alive, as she was basically alone and unsupported. And where did she get? 2 locations away? It was pretty fucking close.
The best is we haven't, in the 2 scenarios that we have played, drawn the -5 token. I drew it 3 times on the bounce, which caused my death and demise. It's just like, fucking Arkham, dude. Fucking Arkham.
Yeah, there was some, again, it doesn't matter who you are, if you enjoy games that are more story than anything, and don't mind, you know,
Oh, if you like a game that gives you itchy teeth,
yeah, Arkham Horror living card game, try it. You know,
any of the Arkham files
yeah.
from FFG, to be brutally honest.
I mean, your entry point in the card game is to buy the core set, which gives you a 3-episode campaign and enough cards to build several decks. And then just buy a campaign box that you like the look of which I think there are something like 7 or 8 now. So it's not a difficult game to get into. You need to obviously enjoy card games because the whole thing is a card-driven system. But if you love it, if you love story-based gaming, try it. Is what I would suggest.
You got Taurus asking where the name Arkham Horror came from.
Are you being facetious? Arkham Horror obviously comes from it's Fantasy Flight's realization of Lovecraft's universe, Tauros. So I don't know who. I'm assuming you know who H.P. Lovecraft is. Writer, lived in the 1920s, I think, 1910s,
America.
1920s in America. Famous for his horror, cosmic horror they call it, don't they?
Yeah.
Famous for his horror writing that was very much of its period. If you find card games tedious, mate, probably not for you. Okay, Rich, we'll see you later. So, yeah.
In that case, may I civilly recommend the Arkham Horrors 3rd edition board game?
I'm obviously not.
Yeah, that it is what it is, Ewok. Again,
I mean, I'm not necessarily defending a lot of his deeply held beliefs, but as a white man in 1920s America, I can't imagine his beliefs were that unusual. Just saying it like it is. You know what I'm saying? You know, we making judgments about people who lived well over 100 years ago isn't necessarily, you know, valid. Just in the sense that that was the time that was. You know,
and
things
actually,
change, time moves on.
I was about to say, just to counter the massive racist point, FFG have done a good thing in not whitewashing it, because there is a lot of racially diverse characters and different gendered characters as well, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, it is a modern board game. Calvin Wright is a black man. You've got Akachi O'Neill or Onile, I don't know. I think she's an African witch doctor type person. She, you know, one of the mystics. You know,
the people of like East Asian descent as well. What's
his
name?
You've got
the beat pop guy.
Tetsuo Mori, the Japanese guy. You've got Minty Fan. I think she's Vietnamese. It's, you know, it's a modern board game with that sort of like cosmic horror theme running through its DNA. It's not ripped straight out of, you know, America's 1920s religious, you know, or, you know, it's been translated for the 2020s, not the 1920s, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying there were pandy, but what I'm saying is that
no, that was dipstick, Darren.
Views that we sort of like find abhorrent now were less socially what's the word I'm looking for? Less socially
they were more
unpalatable.
Socially norm,
yeah,
weren't they?
You know, in the same way that I'm sure the value of sexual violence against women probably carried less fucking
Evening, Shakos.
carried less social burden, in the year 500 AD, doesn't mean that it was terrible, but it was 500 AD for fuck's sake. So it's like, that was a while ago. That's all I'm saying.
Why have you done that, you piece of shit?
So
anyway, it's 42 minutes past 8 to be awkward. So I think that's time for the news.
It's the part of the show that we have come to know as the latest salty blizzard of nerdy sorrow. More news than you can shake the salt at. More news than you can shake the salt at.
Right. What's the news? Okay, so only a couple of things to talk about tonight. I think is Ewok's talking about H.P. Lovecraft. He was a loathsome gorilla-like thing with abnormally long arms, which I could not help calling for legs, and a face that conjured up thoughts of unspeakable Congo secrets and tom-tom poundings. That was sort of like his sort of like imagined version of himself, I think, H.P. Lovecraft there. Yeah, he was pretty bad. I'm not going to say he wasn't. And to be fair, he was a massive racist. He hated the Europeans, Poles, and that sort of thing as well. Essentially, he was quite an obnoxious individual. But I don't know the guy personally. And his sort of like horror has been adapted fantastically for modern gaming audiences. Yeah, yeah, exactly, Darren. And the Dutch. Remember, everybody hates the Dutch. Oh my God, it's degenerated totally now. Yeah.
Hang on, the British don't always hate the Dutch.
I mean, I'll be brutally honest. I have read pretty much the entire collection of Lovecraft's work, and to say that the Biggles books have aged terribly,
is that a fucking understatement?
Lovecraft's prose isn't an easy read for a modern audience, but as I say, the themes have been adapted fantastically by some extremely creative modern writers. Talking of which, the Arkham Files novels that Fantasy Fight produce, I've talked about this on the stream before. This is a bit of a segue, but I'm going to go through with it. So, like, obviously, Fantasy Fight produce all of the Arkham games. You've got the Arkham Horror board game, Elder Sign, or whatever the fuck it's called, Unspeakable, or and
Mansions of
Madness. There's loads of them. And to support the characters that take part in that, they have written a load of novels, just like the Black Library supports the Games Workshop product line. And I've read 5 of them, and they're good books. They're really good books. They're very well written, which, for stuff that's just farmed out to, contract writers, sometimes that stuff can land badly. But obviously, FFG's
realization of it.
Quality control, I think, was their editorial management was pretty much bang on, because they don't I haven't found a bad one yet that they've let slip through. So again, if you're into reading, they're all available as ebooks for about £3, £4 a piece, and they're good. All of them. Damon says my favourite Biggles title was Biggles Takes It Rough. Fuck. Oh. Yeah.
We are going to get fucking cancelled.
I tell you what, I'm going to pour petrol on this fire and say Lovecraft didn't write the best prose, but his ideas were great, Darren. And I tell you who else was like that? Tolkien. Because his fucking prose is terrible as well. You could tell the man wrote history textbooks for a living. Fucking hell. Anyway.
I mean, again, was designed to put his kids to sleep. Just saying.
Yeah. So, like, it's the literary equivalent of a brick in a sock. So, this is quite a cool video. I've discovered. Do you know what? Sometimes it is the leaning on the YouTube homepage where it feeds you random crap instead of your subscription page, which is the stuff that you've actually told it you want to see. Sometimes YouTube does serve you up some nice little gems. I don't know why it seems to have... This is about the third or fourth in a couple of months where it's given me a video by a creator. I've thought, oh, I'm glad you've done that. Thank you, YouTube. Because it's normally just garbage that's not stuff that I want. But this was actually quite good. So Mini Agnostic has got a couple of thousand subs. So it's relatively small channel in the scheme of things. Obviously massive compared to us, but still relatively small. This is a great little video talking a bit about Salute 52. But also I get the feeling this guy is a Napoleonics focused player. Very much, I think his first love is historicals and specifically Napoleonics. But basically he goes on about...
Does he love the French?
I think he's... I'm going to get this wrong. I think he's got a Prussian army.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. But basically the guy does a nice little video. It's just 15 minutes long, talking about how the world of the historical gamer is changing because of this. He calls it the Games Workshop GWification, and it's basically about starter boxes and two-player boxes and having all of the bits in one place, whereas historical gamers are much more used to, you know, okay, so I buy my rules here, then I need these miniatures, so I'm going to get some cavalry from there, some infantry from there, and then I need some terrain, so I'm going to get some buildings from there and some hedges from there. And the historical wargamer is much more used to the... I
was about to say, though, is it necessarily a bad thing that it's being served up in a more digestible format, because it makes it more convenient for the likes of me and you to go, actually, fuck it, let's get some Napoleonics and play some Napoleon. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think the pitch of his video is not that it's necessarily a bad thing, just that it's a change, I think. Because, I mean, you can't argue that it doesn't increase...
No, and again, I wasn't necessarily accusing him of saying it was being a bad thing. But again, it just surprises me.
He definitely... it definitely increases accessibility. That's the thing. It shortens that period of engagement to play, which can be a big problem for our hobby because... everything requires such a lot of time investment and effort to actually get the final ultimate gaming experience out of it. I mean, we all know this, and it is a barrier to entry. Now, whether So, I mean, as I say, it's just a good video. And do you know the other good thing about it? The good thing is that it's written from a different perspective than would be one I would typically be drawn to. Because obviously, I began with Games Workshop and the fantasy side of the hobby in the 80s. And I'm only just now sort of discovering historicals. I mean, I'm into the World War II stuff. I've got some Saga to get ready so we can get it to the table. But you know, I'm very much still at I've still got my training, my historical training wheels on.
You're playing my first
Historical, yeah.
level of
Yeah.
level of
And do you know what? Other people's perspectives are cool. I'm going to pass over Darren's comment. Darren's, I think somebody said slow mode is killing my comments. I apologise for that. I was trying to shorten the latency on the stream so that people's replies appear faster, and I realised I had shortened it to ultra low latency, but I'd also messed with the time. Like I seemed to somehow have introduced a 15-second time delay so that you can't post twice within 15 seconds. They are two separate settings, and it was an accident. But once I'd launched the stream, I couldn't undo it without cancelling the entire stream and then re-implementing it on the YouTube platform. And I just didn't want to fuck with it at midnight last night. So it was like I left it. But what I'm hoping is I'm guessing if you guys can give us some feedback in the chat, there should be less delay between you typing and seeing it appear and us responding to it, because that was something that was commented on. And hopefully, if everything still looks okay, because it does warn you on YouTube, if you go ultra low latency, it may degrade your video quality, it may do this, it may do that. So obviously, if everything still looks fine, I'll keep with that, but I won't I'll switch off this bloody 15-second freeze out shit. Okay, so it looks like the ultra low latency is not stable. Is anybody else having the same problems?
Isn't that your end, Upworlder?
Just
I've had no such issues this end.
because you're watching the stream with no audio.
I'm watching the stream live while also broadcasting to you. Do you know what I mean?
Just if anyone else is having problems, let us know.
When my internet speed drops.
Okay, so
it'll kick out.
This one was a bloody good video as well. So Good Enough Gaming, I've covered some of his stuff before. His primary stuff is one-page rules. So he does OPR battle reports. He does updates on OPR rules changes and that sort of stuff. I think he features the armies and the models. So he does other stuff as well and general wargaming videos, but he does a lot of OPR. This one was one of his more general videos. So this one is, does WYSIWYG help or hurt tabletop gaming? For those of you who are watching later on YouTube, because I know everybody in the chat knows what WYSIWYG means. WYSIWYG is literally what you see is what you get. It's used in a lot of things. So like, for example, you get WYSIWYG text editors embedded in web pages, etc. And the concept is that it presents you with exactly what you will see. You know, it doesn't have any sort of like dressing. It is what you think it is. And where this applies to tabletop gaming is in miniatures. And it's like, if you've got a model on the table, is it what you think it is, or is your opponent using it to represent a different weapon, for example, or a different model entirely? just 15-minute short video. He covers the topic really well, and I said to David after I watched this video, I was really fucking jealous because I thought, shit, we should have done this topic. But we may well come back and do a video. I don't know actually whether to just do a response video, make the topic a response to his video because it's so good, or whether we'll cover it with our own slant yet. But still, 15 minutes of your time, I would recommend going and watching it. He's got quite a chill presentation style. His videos are very basic. He doesn't have a ton of fucking flashy editing and what have you. But for me, it's good YouTube content. So I would recommend it. And the last thing that we've got to talk about is the Snarling Badger Studios podcast. So I don't know if any of you guys have been listening to this, but the Snarling Badger Studio is obviously Uncle Atom from Tabletop Minions and Vince Venturella, the renowned YouTube painter and Age of Sigmar podcaster.
I mean, the lads joke because they have said multiple times what you need to do to be an indie developer is build your YouTube channel for 10 years, get an audience, and then you're golden.
But yeah, so just basically create an audience with YouTube, then offer to sell them a game on the QT, which is not a bad way of doing it. But basically, these two guys, their Snarling Badger Studio is an independent game studio. They've got
what?
4 games?
4 or 5?
I can't remember. Rain in
Hell. PlayStation 0.
Yep.
They've got one coming out later this year.
There's one that's basically a glorified monster hunter, isn't it? Which is 13 or something? 13 witches?
Yeah,
or something like that.
I know the one you're on about. Yeah.
And I think obviously they've got more games coming. And to go with their game design, they have launched a podcast. So this podcast is targeted at people who want to enter the game design space themselves, who might be thinking of becoming an indie developer or already are, or at least people who are interested in that sort of part of wargaming. So
it's about an hour long, quite a good listen. They do a format similar to ours. I want to say we were the inspiration for that.
Obviously,
where they talk about what they've got up to this week,
definitely,
etc. And then,
to me, mate, there's no question. Vince and Adam basically just completely ripped us off. No question. I bet that. Oh dear.
But this show's really good. They go all over the place on this. They come at it from 2 different angles. So as a developer, but also as a player, they talk a lot about the gaming advocate that we bang the drum for, as well, of having a game, having 2 factions for it, setting up play experiences, bits and pieces like that. All that kind of good stuff. It's actually a really good show. Last week's show was Can Anything Bring Down Games Workshop? Ka-chow. Look at the bottom right-hand corner of that on-screen image.
He says, rip it off Adam ruthlessly.
Yeah, exactly. Just ripping off him.
Genius.
So, absolutely awesome. Definitely worth a listen. And I'm listening to these on my commute into work because it's about a 45-minute commute. So I now get a lovely Tuesday morning episode.
Yep. As I say, I don't normally do podcasts, but I tell you what, if they're this good, I might do more of them going forward. Because I quite
genuinely,
like this.
We've mentioned the Rule of Carnage podcast as well, and this is. I don't want to compare them both because again, they're both coming from a very similar point, and both have very pertinent things to say in the indie sector. but I definitely prefer Uncle Atom and Vincey V over Joseph McCullough and not Joseph McCullough, Mike Hutchinson and his mate.
David Bell, John Bell,
Jerry something.
Ford.
Maybe.
I
yeah.
can't remember.
You've got his book, dude.
I know. It's upstairs. I should learn his name. Bless him. So yeah, that's it. That's all the stuff that I saw on the internet that was worth a kick in the guts.
There's one more piece of news that kind of got bandied around last night. Armies of Britain teaser, and we'll bring you more on that next week with some more of the images and releases. They've teased the new British in winter uniform.
I'll have the for bolt action
for 3rd edition.
Okay.
And the new Grant kit as well. Because they've basically taken the Lee kit that they've done, bastardized it like the British did to turn a Lee into a Grant. So yeah, and I think rumour swirling on internet that it's releasing July the 1st for Armies of Britain.
Okay.
Something like that.
Because I'm right in thinking Germany is the only one that's out so far for 3rd, isn't it? Armies of Germany.
Yeah, certain elements had been teased. So there's a mortar team in the 3rd edition rulebook that isn't a current British mortar team. There are other elements of it that they only just went public on the Instagram post. Which was 18 hours ago yesterday.
Okay, cool. No.
Right.
you obviously, Shakos says, I thought they'd been announced for a while, or did I know something? You're obviously somebody in the know, Shakos.
Shakos can be trusted with secrets.
Upworld has mentioned it. I took delivery of my 2nd edition Burrows and Badgers rulebook the other day. I have started having a look at it. There's quite a significant number of rules changes, I think, unless I'm misremembering 1st edition. But what I wanted to do was probably go through and with the book side by side, and maybe I might do a changes video, just myself talking head, at some point, if there's as many changes as I think there is. It's I don't think it's anything that's going to drastically change the game. I think basically they've just tweaked a lot of things. You know
the other changes video you need to do.
Which one?
And this is probably pertinent after Monday.
Yeah.
Is Malifaux.
Well, do you know what though? So many good people have already done it. The reason I thought I might do a Burrows and Badgers one,
because it's underrepresented.
Yes, and I don't know if anybody else is going to do one. And it's one of them things that I think is good to put on the YouTube, for people to find.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if somebody does do a good one in the last week or two, US is out for Bolt Action 3 very soon. No, we'll switch to the new rules, Trevor, but we won't need to change too much. Toros says Comity Forge released a massive STLs today for 10 and 15 million Archimenid Persians, both early and late. Jesus. Okay, mate. That's
a deep dive in words I've never heard.
That is a deep historical dive. I take it, because you're more historicals anyway, aren't you, Toros? I really do need to make some room in my life for more historical gaming. I want to do English Civil War, War of the Roses. That's something like that, in that sort of vein. Because I really think I'll enjoy painting and collecting the models.
You need to get your fucking Saga sorted first.
Saga, that should be easy, They should be easy to do. They're definitely going to get worked on sometime soon. As I say, I'm enjoying not splashing cash on new things, but focusing on old things. So it's definitely going to happen this year. I'm just committing myself now. My saga is getting done this year. Okay. So, okay, the Spartans. Got you, mate. Hence the reference. Are they cool, then, is the question. Probably yes. So, shall we talk about the main topic, mate? It's nearly 9:10, so why not?
Is everybody ready for a lesson with Unky Paul?
Do you already play that period, Toros? What rules do you play? Do you play like too many historical rule sets to mention? Hang on, let me. Shakos is gonna get another beer. So tonight we thought we would talk about the most important thing in any tabletop gaming experience, which is the other people that you're playing with. And before people like Darren go, but I play solo, so there are no other people. Yes, well done. You're probably...
You have beat the system.
Yeah.
You do not need this lesson in education.
Yeah. And as you've already gone to bed, congratulations. You didn't need to see this video anyway. I've gone on record before and actually said, and I'm sure I've said it on stream. I know I've said it in private to David, because David has... Which one is it you've got? 5 parsecs?
I've got 5 parsecs and Space Station.
I genuinely have no passion for solo wargaming. I do not understand the appeal. If I cannot find another human being to play tabletop wargames with, I'll just play against a computer, thank you. I do quite enjoy a lot of computer games, and to my mind, that's what a computer's for. In the same vein, the last thing I would do, generally, is use a computer to play games with another human being. David and I had fun during lockdown, and to be honest, I'm sure online computer gaming probably saved many people's mental health during the great fucking virus crisis of 2019 or whenever the fuck it was.
It was 2020, mate. It's 5 years ago.
But apart from that one scenario,
Has Mr. Featherstone brought out that overhead projector yet? No point in starting without it.
It's coming.
Shakos is bullying us.
It's coming.
Shakos is bullying us. We need to play some farm sim with Shakos.
I'll be honest. Like, David and I used to play a shit ton of farm sim, James. And I did enjoy playing farm sim with yourself, just pissing about on the old American map on the new FS25. But I tell you what, even with like all my snazzy gear, like I got my my wheel and pedals and fucking console set so that I could pretend I was driving a real tractor. Even with that, I'm afraid the passion isn't there for me to play it endlessly like I did back in the horrible times. Do you know what I mean? It's like...
Back in times of Rona.
You know, after I've been doing it for 2 or 3 hours, I start to think, I could have been painting it for something for next week's game or planning something.
Yeah, but the best thing is every time you jump on Farm Sim, I can see in Discord you're playing Farm Sim, right?
I know.
The amount of times that I've sat down and going, I'm going to do some painting Saturday Night Salt or Sunday Night Salt or whatever. I'm going to start doing some shit. And I see you just lurking, playing Farm Sim. I'm like,
honestly, when was I last?
The real Paul?
Can you
tell?
Can you tell when I was last on playing Farm Sim?
I can't tell when you was last on, but I can tell you when you're playing.
I can tell you when I was last on, and it was over a week ago. I really binged it. I think I did 25 hours that week I was on holiday from work.
And now it's lost its shine for you.
Yeah, I'm afraid it has. Because, as I say, when it comes to human beings, I'd rather be playing war games. Do you know what I mean? For me, the sort of computer is a poor alternative.
But actually, on this topic, and I know we're getting side railed. Gloomhaven.
Oh God!
For those of you that have Amazon Prime membership, Gloomhaven is currently free with your Amazon Prime gaming subscription. Don't fucking do it. It's a piece of shit.
Actually,
it's no better.
No, do it. Install it and play it, and then come here and make me feel good about the fact that I don't understand what all the fucking fuss about, and that Gloomhaven isn't that good a game. James puts, I enjoyed the game. We need to go and we should have a session of 3-player farms. Have you got 25 yet, mate? You haven't, have you?
No, I haven't.
We'd have to go 22, but we'd bring you in.
My computer is a potato.
It's good crack now and again, like flow my chatting. What about Farming Sim Gothic?
Anyway, we're getting derailed.
Yeah. So, first slide. What David and I thought we'd do tonight is break down the dynamics at the gaming table that can exist, because
it's kind of like a tier system, isn't it? You know, you have your A, B, C, and S tiers. There's kind of that, but it's nowhere near the same level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one is better than the other.
No, let's sort of start this conversation off by saying the motivation behind doing this for me comes a lot from reading the How to Design Wargames book from Mike Hutchinson and his collaborator Glenn Ford. God, I hope I got that right. And the one thing about reading a book like that, because it's very academic and it's very sort of like crunchy.
It's very university textbook.
Yes, it's like, right, you need to be able to describe ideas in a very academic way. And I thought that's a cool way to look at what we're looking at. So what I thought we'd do is describe some of the scenarios that can exist when you've got two players playing a game across a table. And one of the first dynamics or scenarios, and I mean this probably quite literally, one of the first scenarios or dynamics people encounter is the teacher-student dynamic. So obviously,
have you put your slide actually up on screen?
Yes, I have.
No, you. Oh, yes, you have.
Yes, because you remember you're on a bit of a delay. So obviously, this describes the situation when somebody is learning a game from a player who's already enfranchised. So, Toros, yours is coming right up. Yes, you do, James. And if I don't call your name, that's not because I can't see you. It's because I don't want to hear what you've got to say. Okay?
Are we only using first names now as like disciplinarian?
Ah, dear. If I was doing it really proper, I'd use fucking surnames only, like we're at school. Jones.
Shackles! Sit back down!
Oh, dear. So, yes, teacher student. Now, obviously, we've all encountered this. Either as the student, which is probably more likely for everyone, or sometimes as the teacher.
And this dynamic doesn't only exist in sort of teaching games, so to speak. It also exists at shows and conventions as introductory games.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
Yeah, that is true. That this dynamic is also really important when you're not necessarily trying to. Your aim isn't to skill the person up, but you're basically pitching it at them. So it's the salesman mode, and the important thing here is the teacher side of the story, I think.
I think because again, this came upon the Snarlcast.
It
podcast.
did, yes.
And I think Uncle Atom summed it up beautifully with, you are meant to be a facilitator, and there's no easier or better way to put it into context than kind of how Uncle Atom did, with you are there to facilitate the person learning the game, enjoying the game, possibly putting their hand in the pocket and buying more shit. So therefore, when you're doing it, you don't just say, oh, grab 7 dice, throw them. How many 4s have you got? Right. Roll them again. How many 3s have you got? Right. That's that many models dead. You're going through and explaining like the shooting step, how you get to those numbers for how many dice you're chucking, how you get through the steps and scenarios. Again, explaining regarding combat, melee, all kinds of things. Yes, it is kind of game splaining, but it's done with a very good intention behind it, Toros.
Yeah, and to be fair, you have to do that, Toros. Obviously, do you know what though? Toros makes a valid point. There will be scenarios where you enter this dynamic and you realize that the person you're teaching has either sold themselves short and is actually is able to grasp what's going on far quicker than they gave the impression they would. And you should, in that case, again, back off. Let that person explore the gaming experience for them. In fact, that is a brilliant point, Toros. I'm getting to it, mate. I'm getting to it. You've got plenty of time. I'm going to step up the pace so that we can get to dipping. So that's a really good point. Obviously, your job is to coach that person through their game. Your job is not to beat them. Your job is not to show them what a brilliant tactician you are. In fact, your job is to probably point everything you're doing out laboriously so that they can see the kind of thinking that goes on in the mind of somebody who does play a game a lot. So,
some may say you would throw the game to make it a more enjoyable experience.
I mean,
not curb stomp the new player into the ground.
Again, though, you need to treat that with a bit of caution, because I mean, Uncle Atom says in the Snarlcast that we just showed on screen, you need to draw the line at basically letting them win, because there you run the risk there where the person doesn't enjoy it or realizes you're letting them win and isn't even engaged in the process because they're not having to try or they're not having to think.
Yeah, it's a very hard one to balance, and this is sort of the other reason that we wanted to cover this first, because the tiers as a whole, there is kind of a very aggressive on and off ramp. So we're currently covering the on ramp. We'll cover the off ramp later.
Yeah.
I think the only other thing to add to this as well is, yes, we've had games and experiences, Paul, where we've both rocked up to a game and as a learning game, and I've had fun because we're both learning it together on the fly. It doesn't always have to be teacher student.
That's true.
But it does segue nicely into the next tier that we have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
It's still a teaching game. It's still an experience. But again, because me and Paul are well versed in this, and because we know each other, it actually ends up being more of a beers and pretzel experience with a brand new game.
Yeah. I mean, just before we move on, I'm going to say that I probably like teaching people games more than really any other type of game playing. That's why I like learning new, and I also like learning new systems myself for the first time. So one of the things that I do a lot when I am teaching new systems is that I will often say to my opponent, so what's going through my head now is, or what I need to decide now is, do I do this or do I do this because of X, Y, and Z, and actually explain the whole process. But yeah, I would say this is one of my favourite.
Shakos coming in here with the knight in shining armor, saying that he designs the table and demo contributes, etc. But also, when Shakos is doing a teaching game, he tends to have it that it's him and two students rather than just him and a student.
Yeah.
And again, this is something that's going to crop up repeatedly throughout this discussion of it isn't always between two of you.
Yep.
This can be a threesome, foursome, moresome situation. Just for reference.
Is this why you failed at Arkham Horror Spam? No, it's because Arkham is just brutally difficult.
Have you seen Spam there singing your praises?
Where? What further
You're
up?
a great teacher, less ADHD than David.
Again, to be fair though, I do have like 20 years more experience than David, which is like, it's a factor. What was I going to say? Yeah, the multiplayer thing. Okay, that is a very good point. We are not going to specifically talk about multiplayer in each of these scenarios as we go, but Shakos, you are spot on. You can easily have like teacher and two students. One dynamic that is really, really bad, and you should never ever let it happen, is two teachers, one student. Okay? I just think, and again, feel free to take a contrary view. My view is that is a very risky scenario to be in, where you could end up giving confusing messaging, conflicting messaging, or worst case scenario, the two experienced people end up playing the game and the poor old student turns into a spectator and learns nothing and is not engaged. So just as a hot take,
yeah,
that scenario's
that's
not good.
That's a fair point that I hadn't really thought of there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's talk about the the next one I've got, next slide I've got up is arch enemy. So what we mean by this is the totally competitive experience.
Look, Toros, this is available as a VOD, so if you're taking lecture notes, you can just scroll back later. The beauty of modern technology,
that is
sir.
fucking
The beauty
brilliant.
of modern technology.
Toros. Fucking Toros has broken me. That was very good, mate. Very good. Oh, fuck me. That's good.
We can rely on you fuckers to ruin.
God bless you. God bless all of you. Fucking awesome. So what do we mean by arch enemy, David?
Arch enemy, I would probably describe as it's a bit thorny. Typically more competitive, more adversarial.
Yeah.
There's several different. Are we doing the other one?
Yeah,
above arch enemy.
We're gonna.
I can't remember on the show
No,
notes.
so I mean, arch enemy basically. I think because when we discussed this, arch enemy is competitive. Now, this could include fucking literally hardcore tournament play. You know, literally staring at each other in silence. You know, like absolute frosty atmosphere. It could go to two friends who basically just say to each other, "This is going to be a tough game. I'm not giving you any ground. Let's go." Do you know what I mean?
Or again, playing with, and it sounds a bit demeaning it to say it this way, but for example, there are several different tiers of player at our local gaming club. There are some that have more of a arch enemy attitude. They're always bring their A game. They're always playing hard. It always is a really like crunchy game, and it not knocking it. But then you have the flip opposite of the more beers and pretzels, and we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah.
It's very much you need to know what you're getting yourself in for when you're doing this, whether you've signed up and paid money for yourself to go to a tournament. And again, the tournament rules, the list building, all of that shit. Yes, you could technically describe them as a power gamer, Damon. But the thing I find with power gamer is there's unfortunately a lot of negative connotations that go with that title. Rules lawyer, similarly, there's a lot of negative connotations that go with it. I'm talking about the vibes me and Paul have.
Yeah.
So me and Paul are best mates. We can be beating the living shit out of each other on a table, and I can get tabled or Paul can get tabled, but we're still having a fun time doing it.
And again, we might, if we're in that sort of mood, we might be playing a game, particularly a game that we've both been playing for years and should know better. And one goes, "Oh, can I take that back?" And they go, "No, you can't. You should have fucking known better. And now I'm going to eat you alive. Shut up and fuck off." But do you know what I mean? So just because it's competitive doesn't mean that it has to be nasty. And I think something that's so like you just said, David, about things like what were they, power gamer, rules lawyer, that they were like negative. The reason that power gaming and rules lawyer have negative connotations is almost exclusively when two people are in a game, one is in arch enemy mode and the other person didn't know that's what they were doing. Because
they didn't know that they'd signed up for being used as a sparring bag.
Yeah. Because to be honest with you, if I'm playing with David at a game that we are extremely experienced at, I am totally fine with us rules lawyering it, doing it literally by the fucking book, not letting ourselves off on anything. I'm totally fine with building the filthiest, stupidest lists we can just to push something or try an idea, as long as we both know that's what we're doing.
Yeah, spam's just wandered in here with like
Oh yeah, definitely.
the feather in the cap there of, if you're teaching somebody a game you love, you want to carry them on playing, you go too hard, you're going to put them off.
Actually,
and again,
that's a good point, mate. We probably should explain here, because well done, Sam. We obviously missed it.
yeah,
All of these scenarios, communication is crucial, and the reason I'm sort of like doing this whole video and setting out these sort of archetypes or scenarios is because I want to ram home the point that both players need to understand what the scenario we're trying to create is. Yeah?
both people need to be on board with the games mode, as Paul was just discussing there, of rules lawyer and power gaming, because somebody's in very much, this is a sparring match and I'm going to knock you the fuck out, whereas the other person turned up thinking it was going to be a fluffy walk in the park game that they were going to just chill and chat some shit.
Yeah. I mean, I personally think rules lawyers, people who know a game literally inside out, some of the most impressive rules lawyers I've ever talked to are people who know infinity backwards. And it's like, well, what happens if I drop smoke here but do it as an ARO? Oh, well, then you do this, and then there's this mod, and don't forget this. And do you know what I mean? I'm like, fucking hell, yeah, that's impressive, love it. But if I was in a learning game and I was making mistakes or misunderstanding stuff, and somebody was like, well, no, it doesn't work like that, you obviously misunderstood, still, I'm going to take advantage anyway. It's like, you prick. Don't do that. Yeah, again, I don't mind. I really don't mind if somebody knows, like you say, loopholes, Toros. If somebody, in fact, that came up in a game recently I was playing. It's like
Armada, the prime example being small and tiny ships, technically, rules as written, have a penalty for shooting a broadside at an XL, even when they're danger close.
Yeah.
Because of their base size. It's like, hang on a minute, what?
Yeah, you know, that's the rules. That's the way they're written. Was that what was intended? Maybe not, but that's what was written. I mean, the point is, arch enemy games can be fun. Competitive games can be fun. Jesus Christ, look at the amount of tournament play that goes on. It is not necessarily unfun to play your games in quite a prickly mode with a very competitive attitude. The thing that's absolutely fucking crucial is make sure that both people are in that mode. Or all the people. If it's a 4-player game, again, you know.
May I just also point out here a game me and you both love, and we have said it time and time again. This isn't about us, but Arkham horror games from Fantasy Flight are always, no matter what game it is, played on 11. Bring your fucking A game, or you're gonna get ruffle stomped so fucking hard within the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, and that extends, because even though they're multiplayer cooperative games, because the games scale with the player number, if you have somebody, I'm going to use a phrase here and I don't want anyone to take offence, if you get somebody not pulling their weight or playing a bit stupid, then you're all ruined, because everybody has to do every bit of heavy lifting in those games. But that's what the games are.
But again, this is a nice thing that, do you know what I mean? It's not necessarily just players that can lead to an arch enemy experience. Because again, Arkham Horror's fully co-op. You're all trying to play for a solution. It's just you versus a fucking game that wants you dead.
I think that's all we've really got to say on.
What if the arch enemy is the rules? Fucking Shakos coming in with a fucking big brain play here.
Effectively, that's what happens in Arkham, and it's a design feature. So the Arkham horror games are supposed to reflect the futility of the world that they're written about. So
how brutal it all is, and
everything like that. Lovecraft stories don't have happy endings. Everybody dies or goes insane. Spoiler. Okay? Nobody wanders off into the sunset whistling at a bluebird. Do you know what I mean?
No. Evening, Crispin.
Evening,
no,
Crispin.
Trevor. It's not that it's co-op and not arch enemy. It's the fact of the matter is the game wants you dead, and it wanted you dead 20 minutes ago when you unboxed it.
I don't know if they've. I'm thinking about that. About when the arch enemy is the rules. Whether there's any.
Is there a stream topic there? We'll talk about that after.
Well,
let's get through the topic.
Okay.
And then we can foray at the end. We've got lecture notes to do, Paul. We've got an hour.
Shakos, if you've got any thoughts to expand on that, or great examples of the rules being the arch enemy, or the rule set being the arch enemy, just stick it in the comments and we'll come back to it, because I think you're onto something there, and it was a part of the argument I hadn't considered. It's a brilliant ob. Right, I think this is probably the gaming experience that, what would you say, 90% of war games are? Or 90% of what war games want to be?
I think I'm typically playing at about the 70% mates on the lash.
Yeah.
30% of the time, particularly when I'm playing with like you, Alex, etc. at club, it's more the arch enemy style. But again, look at Moonstone that we've both played lately. That was just fucking mates on the lash. We're learning the game. We're having a bit of a laugh and doing it. Me playing Deep Rock Galactic on Monday, that was mates on the lash while Paul was having a teacher experience. Do you know what I mean?
I tell you what, this is where Shakos's observation comes in, because I tell you one thing about this. There are some rule sets where it's no point going beyond this. Frostgrave.
Space Station Zero.
Yep. That if sometimes a rule set has so much indeterminate, uncontrollable randomness in it that you essentially, if you do not go into it just embracing the experience and just thinking, well, I'm along for the ride, let's see what happens, you will have a fucking miserable time. So I think you're totally vindicated, Shakos. This is definitely an element where the rules can dictate what's an appropriate dynamic.
Play. Yeah,
is probably the best way of putting it. But again, by mates on the lash here, what we mean is casual, relaxed interaction. Both people are putting an enjoyable experience and having fun right at the front.
Wasn't it Shakos that said this right at the top, where he turns up at his club, grabs a table with some mates, has a chinwag, and then...
It was Toros saying about don't run out of time, don't have time to play the game, and just end up going down the B pub. Yeah, that was Toros, I believe it was. Anyway, I'm sorry if I was... Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was. But again, this is, I think, where 90% of war games are healthy. You know, this is a leisure activity that we do for fun. Okay, it is a game, and there are rules, and there are objectives, and we're trying to achieve something, but it's not the be all and the end all. And really, just to underscore the point, wargaming is a social thing. Do you know what I mean? It is about interacting with another human being, solving a puzzle with another human being. You may be testing your wits against another human being to some degree, but you know, if you really want to be challenged, there's Dark Souls, the computer game, that you can just repeat until you can fucking memorize every button stroke and not die. You know, if it's human interaction you're after, this is what our hobby is for, really. Wargaming. The wargaming aspect. I mean, I guess people can paint models and collect terrain and never play a game in their lives, and that's bully for you.
Look at last week's stream.
Yeah.
Oh, but again, caution must be again exuded here with mates on the lash, with banter at the tabletop, with making sure everybody's on the same page when it comes to this.
Yeah.
The worst thing that can happen in all of what we've spoken about so far tonight is there's that switching dynamic where two people are on different pages or more people are on different pages if you're playing multiplayer, and one of them or two of them have gone full on adversarial mode, kicking the shit out of somebody that just wanted some beers and pretzels. But there's also the flip side of this argument of if you're playing a crunchy game and there's two or three people at the table that are in mates on the lash mode and dicking around having fun, it's actually feel bads for semi mode, but they also should have communicated it.
Yeah. Do you know what? I was thinking about
again comes back to what we were saying.
I was thinking about what you said about a 70-30 mix. And do you know what has just occurred to me? I think out of all of the dynamics we've described, this is probably the only one where you really need to be conscious of the degree. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's what you've just outlined it, like with the extreme case where basically two people have stopped playing the game whatsoever. They're arsing about, cracking one-liners, not paying attention or even giving a shit what the last third player does. And obviously that's 100% disengaged from the game. And there's sort of an element of, if you go that far, it's disrespect at that point, unless everybody's doing it and nobody cares. But you've really got, but you can, this is one where you can have like, oh, I'm 100% fucking it off, or, you know, I'm sort of 50% in there, but we're not going for it. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's not a matter of degree, but it feels like it should be.
No,
do you know what I mean?
And again, this is typically my default operating position.
This is my. I think it's everybody's though, isn't it? Because this is fun. It's supposed to be fun.
But there's the flip side of that as well, and we haven't even touched on it yet. When me and you play mates on the lash, versus when other people play mates on the lash, we will quite often talk through what we're doing, counterpoint one another, not teaching, but like jokingly saying, "Are you fucking sure you want to do that? Because there's X, Y, Z over here."
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you're
Do
saying.
you know what I mean? And
Not
it's
playing your
that back-
opponent's game for them, but also it's trying to avoid gotchas, isn't it? It's just
Yeah,
like you.
and again,
You have remembered.
That's the word.
You remembered
That's the
I've
word
got
I was looking for.
AP4 over here, or you've remembered I've got a double charge. You know that. Do you know what I mean? I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying.
yeah. It's because again, if you're playing in arch enemy mode, gotchas are fucking perfectly fine. If you're both in that in that game level.
See Shakos' comment. I played Witchfinder General once and got told I was going too soft, so I started going around breaking people's arms, and I got told I started a police state. Can't win sometimes. Well, you obviously did win. You found the witch, mate. Taurus, the big problem I've encountered is where majority of people playing are mates on the lash, but one person. Yeah, that's what David. Yeah, spot on. Again, it's when there's a mismatch. Let's go to the next slide, right? Stranger danger. So all of the scenarios that we've talked about, so mates on the lash, arch enemy, and the teacher student mode, they are all
teacher student, possibly less so, because it is typically more stranger.
Oh, that's
based.
a shout. Yeah, okay.
But there are still aspects of stranger danger within it, and we will touch on this in a second.
And
I just
not
wanted
only that,
to highlight it now here.
again, again, you could be teaching somebody a game who you know very well. They've just never played the game system that you're showing them. So it's not necessarily always that you're going to be teaching a stranger a game. But I get what you're saying, mate. More often probably than the other scenarios, you may be playing against a stranger in that scenario. But this is not its own scenario, but this is something that can change the complexion of each of the ones we've talked about. When you are playing a complete stranger, even if you're going for a relaxed game at your local gaming club, you're attending a tournament in some city 100 miles away, you're at a games convention and you're trying a demo game or giving a demo game to strangers.
Or, God forbid, you're playing at UK Games Expo on the board game evening, you see two random people there that are also hyped to play the game that you want to play, and they ask to join you,
That's
and you say,
true.
yeah, fuck it, why not?
Yep, because obviously with multiplayer board games, it might not be just your friend group taking part. I think the only thing really that I have to say about this is where this element is in play, everything we've said is amplified by a factor of like 100.
Yeah, the dial's cranked up to 11, isn't it?
Because
people can turn on a dime, people can take attitude with you pointing things out to them because you think you're belittling them.
Yep.
You can have the other aspect of, well, you fucking got me. Well, yeah, we're playing in a tournament, mate. What did you fucking expect was going to happen?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So before you roll any dice, just maybe introduce yourself to the person you're playing against. Ask them what sort of day they're having. Try and get a bead on why they're there, what they're looking to get out of the day. So like at a tournament, say for example you get pushed, you win your first 2 games and lose your third. So you go from being in the top group, you get kicked out because of it's a ruthless tournament where lots of people are going straight wins, and then you're in the lower orders, and it might be worth sort of finding out, has your opponent lost every game so far today? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe
I know entirely what you mean.
Maybe do the human bit. Try and be a bit of a human being. Find out where they're at, what's their headspace, what are they looking to get out of today.
Again, how long have they played the game? Do they have much
Yes.
experience on the game? Is it their first time coming into it?
Yeah.
In a thing.
So that's really what we mean by stranger danger. And again, if somebody's new to your club and everybody's having a nice relaxed game, remember that person's new to your club. You don't know what their background is, you don't know what their expectation is, you don't know how long they've been playing the particular game they've got. They might have a fantastically painted massive army. They might have bought it on eBay. Doesn't mean they've painted and collected it over years themselves. You know, don't make assumptions. And talking of which, that brings us to our final slide, doesn't it, mate?
Yeah, so
and this is where David goes on a story time, so I'll leave it to you.
So I went up to the Mantic tourney for Armada, about a month ago, wasn't it?
Yep.
Really good play experience, was described as a beginners tournament, but that people had some experience. I had 3 games up there. One of them was against Alex from our local club, and hats off to you, Alex. You went 3-0 that day, and I fucking tabled you game 2, but we kind of knew what was coming, dude. First game, played a lovely bloke who had Abyssal Dwarves. I did shout him out the other week after the tournament. Was a really good guy. Really good game. We introduced each other to it. But because it was a beginners tournament and this was sort of prevalent throughout the day, there were a few different interpretations of the rules, a few different understandings. Like, we all learnt that day that the 8-inch Armada ruler is not actually 8 inches. Who fucking knew?
Obviously, somebody was sad enough to measure it. Probably when they were trying to 3D print clone it.
we had some players that were at arch enemy level. They wanted to come into this tournament, treat it as a proper tournament kind of thing. We had guys that were like, "Oh fuck it, I've paid to go to the tournament, but it's a laugh. I'm here with a couple of mates," and everything in between. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a really,
and I think what you're trying to say is that
nice experience to turn up to a tournament and it not be full of salty grognards.
But not only was it a nice experience, but it was potentially not what you were expecting.
Yeah, it completely head fucked me because I was like, "Oh, hang on a minute, what? Shut up, spam! Fuck's sake!" It completely threw me because I turned up expecting people to know like 4 rules for their factions and bits and pieces, but I knew more than they did because I'd done a little bit of research, and I was probably more being a salty grognard and at the arch enemy level than friendly at the tournament. But at the end of the day, it was a tournament. I'd paid for this experience, and it was my first time ever going to a tournament, so it really threw me for 6.
Not just an Armada tournament, but an anything tournament.
Tournament in general, yeah. And there's a couple of others that I want to go try. So there's the Great Boat Race of Panethor, which is down in Oxfordshire. I might go to that next year. Mantic might be running a couple of other tournaments, and definitely based on the play experience that I had at that first one, I would go back. Hand over fist, time and time again. Really nice environment, really nice crew, and I think the best thing that summed it up at the end was I had a couple of questions for the TO because the TO was playing games because Paul didn't fucking go. Fucking twat.
Rude.
It's fucking true though, isn't it? Fucking true.
Rude.
I had a couple of questions for the TO about a few rules interactions that had come up at club in the lead up to this, because me and Alex had played, must be about 10 games of Armada to build up to this tournament, thinking, oh, it's going to be grognard, because again, Alex is a 40k player. Alex goes to doubles tournaments. Alex goes to the LGT and plays Old World. Alex is well versed in what could have fucking happened that day, and it didn't happen.
Because
Do you
he's
know what
been
I mean? And
he's
it's-
been to some tough tournaments, hard playing. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, he's had hard game experiences and that kind of thing.
Got you.
When you go talking about tourney, are you not including stuff at the club? As we have had a few. I mean,
yeah, not
the
really,
thing is,
Trevor.
the tournaments at club, there's no paying for it other than your fees for the evening. Do you know what I mean? There's no prize pool to be had.
And we know each other.
We're all mates. We all know each other. We
It's
all
different.
know what people have, what people are collecting, etc. Going to this tournament, playing Kingdoms of Men, Abyssal Doors, and Northern Alliance, I'd played Alex's Northern Alliance list 4 times. I knew exactly how to take the fucker apart, hence why he ended up tabled.
Yeah.
If it had been anybody else, I'd have probably lost all 3 games. The fact that the only win of that day was against Alex tells you all you fucking needed to know.
Right. I think that's pretty much all we've got to say, isn't it?
Actually, can I just give a huge shout out to the guy from Mind Clash Games that taught us Voidfall?
Oh, yeah, that's, at UK Games Expo.
At UK Games Expo last year. That is a fucking crunchy game. It is one of the highest ranked on Board Game Geek for how difficult it is.
Yeah, and his preparation and his delivery of a learning experience was amazing for such a complicated game. He'd really planned it out. He'd really thought it through, and he delivered a great game experience for noobs. Just before we go, I'll show this off. I don't know if Toros is still here or whether he will catch it.
He is, because he said you were worried. He was worried about you and your glove.
Right. Let's see. This is messy. Right. Let's go here.
Big shout out to Paul and David for managing to get the slides the right way up. Thanks, Taras. We love you too, dude.
Right. So this is the Vallejo Game Wash on. I will.
Oh, fucking lovely, Shakos. Why, we'll have to meet up and have a fucking beer, dude. Are you going Partisan later next month as well, by the way?
So this is before the game, before the dip, after the dip. So it's a bit scary. It's very orange looking. It's very streaky looking.
Why are you touching with a glove the one that has no wash
Look,
on it?
because I'm not thinking. I'm not thinking it through.
And then the one with wash is just on your bare skin.
So look, that's what it is. Honestly, as that dries, the orange changes to like a nice neutral brown colour. It really does back right the fuck off. And because it's a dip, it has quite a lot of movement in it. Don't get me wrong, it will change the entire colour balance of the surface, but it will move as it dries.
I find my black wash Shakos dries glossy as fuck if I'm not careful.
This I have not had that yet. I don't know whether you've got a bad batch or whether it's a mixing problem. This dries super matte.
I do prefer the orange. The orange does dry matter, so I think it's
It's the
something in
mix.
that black.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Taurus is asking, does it pull much?
You do need to work it, Toros. Yes, I generally do. I'll put an application pass, and then like now, I'm doing a working pass to take the worst.
Just drag it to the
Yeah.
recesses and take stuff off the high points,
Um,
etc.
because it is a bit unpredictable. But to be honest, again, I'm only doing terrain with this. If I was doing miniatures, I would probably thin it. Because it could easily stand a 50-50 mix with water and still be good. Do you know what I mean?
You think?
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't think you're going to run the risk of splitting it?
No, I think you could do it. And your black I mixed 50-50 before I did that Carnivale MDF. And to be fair, it didn't dry gloss.
Yeah.
So maybe it's actually better to mix it. But again, I'm not using it as a dip as such. I'm using it more as a wash for texture.
Well, I've got some Caribbean turquoise down on my Rangers. And I got a couple of my heroes painted up with Caribbean turquoise.
Do you want me to put your camera on, mate?
Nah, don't worry about it.
Sure.
Because it's all their fucking legs and pantaloons, so they're all in fucking shadow anyway.
Okay.
So far, just for
Get
those
rid of
that give a
phone.
flying fuck, I am. If we take the 6.5 hours out for priming, I'm 14 less 6, so I'm about 8 hours in. And I've got a unit fully done and 2 units here about half done.
Superb.
Which is not bad, because each unit's between 10 and 14 guys. I don't think that's terrible. 8 hours to do like nearly 30 minis.
I will do Toros. What I'll do is I'll do a photo before I do any dry brushing or correction back, so you can see sort of like the midway point
where you're at. Yeah.
But yeah.
Nice, Shakos, nice.
Yeah. As I say, the reason I don't think it's particularly a revolutionary product, I don't think it's a particularly unique product, but what it is a relatively cheap, large volume, water-based wash, which, you know, most of the wash products you see come in tiny fucking expensive quantities and they're just not suitable for all jobs.
It's a shame it's not quite as good as Agrax, and the fact that you have to fuck around and thin it if you want it for minis, and also the fact that it's only available in 2 shades.
That is the biggest problem.
And sepia.
I mean,
could you imagine if they did a couple of different color ranges, or had like an Agrax or a Thonian equivalent with like the green hues in it?
I mean, to be honest with you, even if they did just a palette that was like a greenish grey, a bluish grey, a greenish brown, do you know what I mean? Even if they just stuck to the brown black thing, but actually sort of like just gave you a bit of a colour palette, the effects you could get on terrain would be amazing with it. To be fair, do you know what? I wonder if it could be tinted with other inks.
Possibly.
Might be a few
AK
tricks.
deep shades. Good for that shout, Shakos. I might see if I can find some of them at Partisan or Expo. In answer to Trevor's question, how much do you think I'm going to get painted before year end? Will you be close to less grey or half sorted? My plan is to get all of my dwarves done
Toros.
this year.
Definitely, mate. Toro says it's an oh my god, we need a massive painted terrain in 2 days. That's exactly what it is. Right, it's gone 10 o'clock, so we're going to call it here. Thank you to everybody who was in the chat tonight, our co-stars, as I call them. You're appreciated so much. This would not be half the fun without you. I hope the topic was fun. I hope you liked it. And if you're watching along later on YouTube, thank you very much for your views, and we hope the topic appeals to you. If you've got any player dynamics, archetypes, really insightful things that we've missed, put them in the comments below.
I was about to say, rather than being negative here, what's been your best player dynamic experience, and throw that in the comments so we can all ogle over it and get envious.
Yeah, and Shakos, get in the comments and explain the rules of the archenemy thesis in detail. I want 10,000 words by next week. Right, okay. I think we're done. If you can only find time to do a single thing, please click the like button, guys. It just helps to push us in the YouTube algorithm. If you want to do the other shit, share, comment, subscribe, then that's great as well. But a like is all that we ask for. So with that being said, I think we're out of here for another week, and we'll see you guys next Thursday.
See you, fuckers.
It's another Thursday night. I see Crispin's wearing tights. Spanner's getting in the bath. Young David's full of wrath. Paula's tightening his straps. Where on his apron you saps. Technical difficulties. They're really such a crime. Technical difficulties. They happen all the time. It's Yellowbelly Tabletop 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 time. Cheese Me is on day release. Damn, still tries not to crease. And Ewoks keeping nice and warm in bed with Russian uniform. Meanwhile, the handyman is opening up the can. Technical difficulties. They're really such a crime. Technical difficulties. They happen all the time. It's Yellowbelly Tabletop time. It's Yellowbelly Tabletop time. It's Yellowbelly Tabletop time. It's Yellowbelly Tabletop time. Cheese Me is on day release. Damn Chef tries not to crease. But Ewoks keeping nice and warm in bed with Russian uniform. Meanwhile, the handyman is opening another can. It's Yellowbelly Tabletop time. It's Yellowbelly Tabletop time. It's Yellowbelly Tabletop time. It's Yellowbelly Tabletop time. Cheese Me is on day release. Damn, me up tries not to crease. And Ewoks keeping nice and warm in bed with Russian uniform. Meanwhile, the handyman is opening another can.